So this month has been one of the craziest months that I personally ever experienced in the market. And in today's video, I want to show you guys why things look so bad and why honestly things can continue to get bad until something changes. And you don't want to fight the direction or you don't want to fight the trend of the overall market. So with that being said, let's get right into it. All right, jumping right into the chart. So January is about to come to an end, and it looks like so far you only make money this month if you were invested in 3 different sectors, right? The first sector is going to be precious metals like silver, gold, platinum, etc. Right now, obviously, silver just had one of the biggest crashes we've seen in history. Right, came down like 35%, which is pretty crazy. But basically, for most of January, right, silver went up like 60% total. Right, so you made a lot of money. You invested in silver. You made a lot of money if you were invested in gold, right, and even the miners, right, and so on. The next sector is going to be space stocks, right? So you made a lot of money if you were invested in things like ASCS, right, Lunar, right, most space stocks that you can think of, right, there's a lot of momentum around space stocks and you made a lot of money from that. And the last sector is going to be like memory chip related companies, right? So like MU and Sandex. Let's see. Right. So space stocks, memory stocks, and precious metals were the only things that really made you a lot of money or some type of money so far in 2026. But everything else is damn near having a massive correction, right? And I've realized a common trend. And what's going on is like a lot of these companies, let me go to the 3-year time frame so I can show you what I'm talking about. So it's like most companies that did really well in 2025 are having this massive correction in 2026, right? So I'm gonna go through a couple examples and show you guys what I'm talking about because this is something that you should definitely not ignore, right? So for example, AppLovin, right? They had a massive run in 2026. Now the market's kind of repricing the stock and it just keeps on going down, right? Another example, let's look at SoFi. Massive run in 2026, right? The market's kind of repricing the stock and it's just going down, right? Another example, Microsoft, right? Had a pretty good run. The stock has been dead money since August, right? Another example, AVGO, right? Massive run. The stock has basically been dead money since August. Another one, all right. The list goes on and on and on, but this is the last one I'll show y'all. Palantir, right? The same thing, massive run up. But the stock has been dead money since the beginning of August, right? And you guys should not ignore this. What I mean by that is the market is completely detached from the fundamental financials of these companies, and it just doesn't care. It doesn't seem like it cares at all. And what I mean by this is, for example, SoFi just came out and had record-breaking earnings reports, right? Raised their guidance, did everything right. But the market does not care. It's like it can't go up. It's like something is just pulling these stocks down and you just shouldn't try and like fight the trend. You know what I'm saying? So another good example of this is, let's look at even Microsoft again, right? Microsoft had pretty good earnings after the stock was already being down, but the stock went down even more. Like it had its biggest day drop since like 2020, right? Microsoft came down 12% after its earnings report. It's like the market wants these stocks to go down. It just wants to reprice these stocks regardless of the fundamental financials. And that's scary, you know, because as an investor, when you're trying to invest in stocks, right, make a bet, you're looking for some type of catalyst that can cause the stocks to go up, right? And a lot of times, a big catalyst is the earnings report. You see how these companies are performing. But what happens when that catalyst is good, right? The companies have great earnings, double beat, raise their guidance, but the market still tanks the stock. You shouldn't ignore that. The market is telling you that it wants these things to come down, you know, and as much as you want the stock to go up and as much as it doesn't make any sense, it's just not worth fighting, right? Another good example is Meta, right? So Meta actually had a pretty good run up, but after its earnings report, but the stock is starting to come down a little bit more now, and the stock will probably go below 700 again, right? It's just not worth trying to fight this trend. And we're seeing this over and over again. Really good companies that are still having good fundamental financials, still having good earnings reports, still raising guidance, but they're having this massive correction. Like Hood is down over 30%, right? And it finally broke below $100. And it would be tempting to just buy some options here, right? Because you're down so much, but I just would not fight the trend, right? This doesn't mean that things are going to go down forever. But what I'm saying is for the temporary, time being, at least for the foreseeable future, it looks like the market wants these stocks to come down. And a lot of people, including me, right? I made some mistakes. It's so tempting to buy options here, short-term options, to try and get a quick flip. But the market's telling you that it wants these stocks to come down for whatever reason, right? And this doesn't mean that, okay, if you believe in this company long-term, you shouldn't, buy the stock or invest long-term, right? Because nobody knows when things are going to turn around. But if I was you, I would avoid buying options, or especially short-dated options, because we don't know how long this is going to continue, this downturn, or where the markets are pricing a lot of these stocks, right? Regardless of the fundamental financials. A lot of people are going to buy short-term options, trying to get a quick flip. They're going to keep on losing a lot of money because you don't know when this thing's finally going to, turn around and the market's going to get better. But if you believe in the company, right, buy the stock and still be patient. Understand that it can still go a lot lower. But until something changes, man, it looks like it doesn't matter what these companies do, right? As far as like their earnings report, their guidance, whatever, the market wants these stocks to come down. It sucks. I mean, it doesn't make any sense, but that's what's happening. So this is something I just want to bring to your attention, right? And just keep an eye on the market and see what's going on. But it looks like it's extremely bearish until something changes. So I hope that makes sense to y'all. And honestly, it's really confusing and I can't really wrap my head around it. But if one thing that I've learned from being in the market is that you need to be objective. And the market's telling you that regardless of how your company is doing fundamentally, right, reporting your earnings report, and the stock is still coming down, you don't need to ignore that, right? The overall trend right now is bearish besides those three sectors that I talked about. And even now, they're kind of coming down and having some type of correction. But what I'm saying is it doesn't mean that, you shouldn't buy the stock or dollar cost average, right? Especially when it's down this much and you believe in the company long term. But it means that you should be a little bit cautious, right? Don't put half your portfolio in buying short-term options, thinking that the stock is undervalued and that it has to go up. The stock doesn't have to do anything, right? The stock could go down a lot more. So what I'm saying is just be cautious until things turn around, until, the trend changes. Because right now it's just bearish, honestly. And you're going to lose more money trying to fight the trend than trying to go along with it, right? So don't fight the market. And, dollar cost average, be patient, but understand that you probably shouldn't be, highly leveraged or taking a lot of risks at this time until something changes. So I hope this makes sense to y'all. Let me know what other stocks you guys are looking forward to getting into. Let me know what you guys think about the market and where it's going to be heading for the rest of 2026. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.